This is P. Mabu Hussain, Assistant Professor of EEE in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. So today in this video, I'm going to explain about outcome-based education. So outline of this video presentation is this, right? What is outcome-based education? What are the Bloom's taxonomy levels? So what are the NBA graduate attributes? Then what is CO, PO, PSO, and PEO, and how to write the course outcomes, and then how to map these course outcomes to POs, how to calculate the attainment of CO, and how to calculate attainment of PO. So these are the topics what we are going to discuss in this video. Yes, according to Washington Accord, this Washington Accord is a multilateral agreement which is signed in 1989. So between the bodies which are responsible for accreditation and recognition. And India also we have the National Board of Accreditation, which is called as NBA. So it is a board established by the AICTE. So for the purpose of accreditation to higher educational institutions, and this was started in 1994 and is operated as an autonomous body. So from 2010, and NBA is a full-time member of this Washington Accord. According to this, this NBA accredits the programs and not the institutions. Hence, before applying for any NBA accreditation, the concerned department should take the should make sure that the COs are well defined and they solve the purpose of outcome-based educations. Right? Generally, the institutions will go for two types of accreditation. Right here we have the Tier 1 accreditation and Tier 2 accreditation. In Tier 1 accreditation, all the IITs, NITs, and central universities and state universities, autonomous bodies will be included here. And Tier 2 accreditation, institutions which are affiliated to universities are included. So then, what is outcome-based education? So outcome-based education, or simply you can call it as OBE. So this OBE is an education which will be focused on outcomes, right? So this OBE is a student-centric teaching and learning methodology. So in which the course delivery, assessment, or plan to achieve the already stated objectives or outcomes. It focuses on measuring the student performance, so which is at different levels. So generally this OBE is an education which is mainly focused on the outcomes. These outcomes are defined before we start the program, and in the program we will try to achieve these outcomes, and after evaluation we will find the attainment of the outcomes, and hence whether they are achieved or not. Okay, if they are achieved, that is okay. If they are not achieved, then what are the measures to be taken? So this is the total process of outcome-based education. So what is the importance of OBE? Right. So due to this OBE, international recognition and global employment opportunities will be increased, and more employable and innovative graduates with professional and soft skills, social responsibility and ethics will be improved, and better visibility and reputation of the technical institutions among the stakeholders, on improving the commitment and involvement of all the stakeholders, enabling the graduates to excel in their profession and accomplish greater heights in their career. So preparing graduates for a leadership position, challenging them and making them aware of opportunities in the technology development. So what are the benefits of OBE for faculty members? So faculty members are referred to as the changing agents of this OBE, and the faculty members teaching will become a far more creative and innovative with this OBE, and faculty members will no longer feel the pressure of having to be the source of all knowledge, and the faculty members shape the thinking and vision of the students towards the course. So these are the benefits of OBE for the faculty members in an institution. And if you see the differentiation between the traditional education and outcome-based education, so we see mainly three important parameters. The first one is curriculum planning and design. So the curriculum planning and design in traditional education will be same, and it will be passed from generation to generation. So that means same curriculum will be passed from generation to generation in traditional education. But in OBE, in outcome-based education, this curriculum is planned and designed according to the present day needs of the students. Right? This in outcome-based education, this curriculum will be designed and planned according to the needs of the student, and every year it will be updated based upon the student's need. And if you observe the teaching process in traditional education, so generally the teachers are focused on only completing the particular syllabus by the end of the session or program. So, but in outcome-based education, instead of focusing on completing the syllabus, the teachers generally will focus on the students to develop the new skills. And the third parameter is the final outcome assessment. Okay, in traditional education, the student will be assessed as per the grades or marks obtained by them. So, but in outcome-based education, the students' assessment is done in levels. So that will track the learning and the skills of the student. So the Bloom's taxonomy. So to measure the student performance, so generally we use this Bloom's taxonomy. And Bloom's taxonomy is a classification of different objectives and skills that are educators set for the students. And this taxonomy was proposed in 1956 by Benjamin Bloom, so who is an educational psychologist at the University of Chicago. So the terminology has been recently updated to include the 6 levels of learning. So those are remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. And these 6 levels can be used to structure the learning objectives, lessons, and assessments of a course. So if you see the Bloom's taxonomy levels, so in 1956 they were defined as knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So these are the 6 Bloom's levels, so which are defined based on the norm in 1956. So, but in 2001, these 6 levels are updated as verbs. So here you will be having the remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So these are the 6 Bloom's taxonomy levels, so which are updated in the year 2001. Okay, so if you observe these 6 levels, so remember here is nothing but recognizing and recalling the facts of a concept, and understanding here is nothing but so understanding what the facts are meant for, and then next level of Bloom's taxonomy is apply. So in applying, so we will recall the concept and understand the concept, then we apply those concepts into a new situations. And the next level is analyze. In this level, the information will be broken into parts, and each part will be analyzed fully and separately. Then the next level is evaluate. So in this level, the student will be able to judge whether the outcomes are of your topic, the outcomes of your topic will be perfect or not. Okay, he can have the knowledge of judging the evaluation done by himself. So then the final level is the create level. Right? In create level, the student will try to combine the all parts and can create a new system. Okay, these are the 6 levels which are there in the Bloom's taxonomy. So by the end of this graduation program, the students should try to achieve all these levels. Okay, and then here we have some Bloom's taxonomy verbs. Right? In remember, we have choose, define, find, how. So these are the Bloom's verbs. And in understand also we have classify, compare, contract, so like that. And in apply, we have the verbs as apply, build, choose, develop, experiment. So these are the verbs. And in analyze also we have some verbs: analyze, assume, categorize. And then evaluate, we will agree, assess, and award, choose. So these are the verbs. In create, you have some verbs which are build, change, choose, like that. Okay, so every Bloom's taxonomy level has defined with some verbs. So these are listed here. So we can use these verbs for framing the question bank. Right, some important aspect of outcome-based education. So while learning about this outcome-based education, we will come across some definitions or some components. So these are the first one is course. So what is the course? So course is actually defined as it is a theory or practical subject, so which is studied in a particular semester. So for example, you take the engineering mathematics as one subject. Okay, so the subject may be either theory or practical. Sometimes even it can be a mix of theory and practical also. So then the second one is program. So this program is defined as the specialization of a degree. So for example, if you take a BTech degree, so then EEE, it is a program. CSC, it is another program, like that. So program is a specialization or a discipline in a particular degree. So then you have program educational objectives. Right, in OBE, you have the program educational objectives, and these program educational objectives are broad statements, so which describe the career and professional accomplishment of a program that is preparing the graduates to achieve within a 3 to 5 years after the graduation. So generally these PEOs are the broader statements. So generally these PEOs will be achieved after 3 or 4 years of your student graduation. Okay, and the NBA, which is an accredited body, so will not ask for assessment of these PEOs. So they will ask the assessment of PEOs and PSOs only. Okay, and the fourth one, program outcomes. Right, so program outcomes are narrow statements. So these describe the what the students are expected to be able to do by the end of the graduation, and POs are expected to be in align with the graduate attributes which are defined by the NBA. So total a 12 number of graduate attributes are defined by NBA. We will see later there. So then program specific outcomes. So program specific outcomes are the statements that the students should be able to do at the time of graduation with reference to some specific discipline. Usually there are 2 or 4 PSOs are there for a particular program. So here program specific outcomes. These program specific outcomes are department level. Okay, each department will be having for 2 to 4 PSOs, and students are expected to achieve these program specific outcomes. So by the end of the graduation. So then course outcome. So course outcomes. So in every program you will be having different subjects, right? So each subject or a course will be having certain course outcomes, right? These course outcomes are the statements which the student has to achieve by the end of the course. Okay, generally there will be 8 to 12 COs will be defined for a particular course. And then graduate attributes. Graduates attributes, these are defined by NBA. So there are 12 in number. Let us see what are the 12 graduate attributes which are defined by NBA according to the OBE. So the first one is engineering knowledge. So in engineering knowledge, we can apply the mathematics, science, engineering fundamental, and engineering specialization to the solutions of complex engineering problems. So then problem analysis. In problem analysis, you can identify and formulate research literature, and you can analyze the complex engineering problems. So reaching the sustainable conclusions using first principles of mathematics, natural sciences, and engineering sciences. So then third attribute is design and development of solutions. Right, in design and development of solution, we can design the solutions for different complex problems, and also will design the system components, processes which meet some specified needs with appropriate consideration into the public safety and health and environmental considerations also. And fourth graduate attributes is the conduct investigations of complex problems. So in this fourth graduate attribute, we will conduct investigations on some complex problem using the research-based knowledge and research methods. So including design of experiments, analysis, interpretation of data, synthesis of information to provide the valid conclusions. So then the fifth graduate attribute is modern tool usage. In modern tool usage, you can use one new tool or software tool to create, select, and apply the appropriate techniques and resources for modern engineering problems. And these include the IT tools. By using this, you can predict and model the complex engineering activities. So for understanding the particular problem. So then the engineering and society. So in the engineering and society, we apply the reasoning informed by contextual knowledge to assess the societal health, safety, legal and cultural issues, and the consequent responsibilities which are related to professional engineering practice. Then you have the seventh attribute as environment and sustainability. So in this, you have to understand the impact of professional engineering solution on the societal and environmental context, and you have to demonstrate the knowledge and the need of the sustainable development. And the eighth one is the ethics, right? So every graduate you should have some ethics, and they must apply the ethical principles and commit to professional ethics and responsibilities and norms of the engineering practice. And then ninth graduate attribute is the individual and teamwork. So in individual and teamwork, the graduate or student will function effectively as an individual or in a group of members. So then communication. So a graduate is expected to have the good communication skills, right? So he should communicate effectively on complex engineering activities. So with the engineering community and with the society at large, such as being able to comprehend, write effective reports, and design the documents, make effective presentations, and give and receive the clear instructions. And then you have project management and finance. So this is the 11th attribute. So in this, the student will demonstrate the knowledge and understanding of engineering and management principles and apply these engineering and management principles to its own work as a member and as a team leader to manage the projects and multidisciplinary environment. And the final one is the lifelong learning. Okay, so in lifelong learning, the student is expected to have the continuation for what he has learned in the graduation, right? So now this is the OBE framework. So if you observe the OBE framework, here you have the inputs from stakeholders. So stakeholders here are referred to as the students, the parents, alumni, teachers, all those. So we will take the inputs from all the stakeholders and we will frame the outcomes. Outcomes will be vision and mission for an institutional, and for program you will be having program educational objectives and then program outcomes, and then for course you have the course outcomes, right? So these are the outcomes at different levels. For institute you will be having vision and mission, and for particular program you will be having program educational objectives, program outcomes and program specific outcome, and for a particular course you will be having course outcomes, right? So we have to define all these outcomes after receiving the inputs from different stakeholders, right? By the feedbacks which received from the these stakeholders, we will define these outcomes. Once after defining these outcomes, you need to prepare a planning and delivery of your course. Okay, what is the syllabus and what is the content of this syllabus, and what are the teaching methods we have to employ, and what are the learning activities we need to perform, and finally what are the assessment tools we have to use to assess the knowledge of a student. So this is the planning and delivery. Okay, so then after planning and delivery, you need to do the assessment of a institution, assessment of a program, assessment of a course. Okay, so for attaining the course or for assessing the course, you need to have the course outcomes, right? And the students are expected to achieve those course outcomes. How those course outcomes, whether the student has achieved or not, so we will done through this course assessment. Okay, then after the assessment, if the student is unable to achieve those outcomes, so then you need to remodify those outcomes, and again you have to start take the inputs from the stakeholders, and again you have to redefine the outcomes, and this process fully will be continuous. Okay, so this OBE is a continuous process. So taking the input from the stakeholders and defining the outcomes, and then defining the planning and delivery, then doing the assessment, and then improving the system. So OBE framework you can also define in this picture also here. So mainly you have the outcomes, teaching learning process, assessment, and then improvement. Okay, outcomes here. So this is the planning of your outcomes. So by taking the inputs from different stakeholders, you have to plan the outcomes. So outcomes here you will be having for institution, vision and mission will be an outcome, and for program you will be having POs and PSOs, and for your course you will be having COs. Okay, first by taking the inputs from stakeholders, you have to define the outcomes or you have to plan the outcomes. Then after this, you have to prepare a teaching and learning process. Right? What is the course syllabus? So what is the teaching methodology you have employed? What will be the learning process? So then how the assessment is done for your student, right? So after planning, you have to do the teaching and learning process. In teaching and learning process, we'll be having all these activities, right? After doing this teaching and learning process, then you have to check. Okay, checking here is nothing but it is come under the assessment. Okay, you have to first assess the course. Okay, you have to whether the course outcomes are properly met or not. So these you have to check. So then for program you have to do the assessment. Okay, you have to check the program outcomes and whether they are achieved or not. So then finally for university or institution, whether the vision as mission has achieved or not, you have to check. Then after checking, if there are some errors or if those outcomes are not met, so then you have to act accordingly. According to the assessment, you have to act. So if you want to take any improvements, then in the act you can include them, right? So like this, it will be a continuous process, right? If you see vision and mission, so every institution will be having a vision and a mission. Okay. At the same time, every department also will be having vision and mission. So here I have given the vision and mission of Institute of Aeronautical Engineering College, and in that Institute of Aeronautical Engineering College for EEE department, this is the vision and mission. So then program educational objectives, right? So for EEE branch, the Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, the four program educational objectives were defined. So these are the success in electrical engineering, industrial awareness and research, successful employment and professional ethics. The fourth one is being a leader in professional and societal environment. Okay, so these are the program educational objectives which are defined for a program which is EEE in IARE. So then you have the program outcomes. So here for IARE, for all programs, we have the same program outcomes are there. So these program outcomes are defined according to the graduate attributes which are defined by the NBA. Okay, so here in IARE, we have taken the same POs like a graduate attributes which are defined by NBA. So these POs are 12 in number in IARE. So those are the same as the graduate attributes which are defined by the NBA. See here, you'll be having PO1, which is engineering knowledge, PO2, problem analysis, PO3, design and development of solutions, and PO4, conduct the investigations of complex problems. Then you have the PO5, which is modern tool usage, PO6, the engineering and society. So PO7, environment and sustainability, PO8, this is ethics, PO9, individual and teamwork, PO10, communication, PO11, project management and finance, PO12, lifelong learning. So if you observe these program outcomes which are defined for IARE college, these are almost the same as the graduate attributes which are defined by the NBA. Okay. So then program specific outcomes. So the program specific outcomes are the discipline specific. Okay, every department will be having some program specific outcomes. Okay, so for EEE branch, we have defined three program specific outcomes. So the first PSO, so is the design, develop, fabricate and commission the electrical systems involving in power generation, transmission, distribution and utilization. And then PSO2. So this is the focus on the components of electrical race with its converter topologies for energy conversion, management and auditing in specific applications of industry and sustainable rural development. So then you have the PSO3, so which gain the hands-on competency skills in PLC automation, process controllers, HMI, which is human machine interface, and other computing tools which are necessary for entry-level position into the to meet the requirements of an employer. So these are the three PSOs which are defined for a triple E program in IRE. So once if you observe the OBE assessment methodology, so in OBE assessment methodology, so first you have the questions. Okay, so the students' assessment will be done through some questions only. Okay, so you have the questions, and each question will be mapped with course outcomes. Okay, so if you observe the course C101, this course C101 will be having certain course outcomes. So those course outcomes are represented 1, 2, 3 up to 9. Right? This course C101 will be having 9 course outcomes. Right? Now you have to check first whether these questions are mapped to these COs or not. If they are matched with how many COs they are matched, you have to check. Then after doing this, you have to check these COs are mapped to POs or PSOs. Okay, so some COs will every CO will be mapped with any one PO or PSO, right? So you have to do the mapping. So then these POs will be mapped to PEOs, and these PEOs finally will be mapped to vision and mission of the institution. Okay, so this is the assessment methodology which we follow in OBE. Okay, so in OBE, first you have to define the outcomes for a particular course, which are called the course outcomes. Okay, then how to write the course outcomes? As we know, the course outcome is a statement which clearly indicates what the student should know or should be able to do as a result of some learning. Okay, and once if you define the CO, that CO must be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time consuming, time bound, right? And if you see the a well written CO, then the well written CO will be having these parts. Okay, so which is the action verb. Okay, action verb it will be having, and subject content next, and then it will be having level of achievement or condition of performance. Any one of these two, level of achievement or condition of performance. Okay, if you want to write a particular CO, so then the first step is that you have to select an appropriate verb from Bloom's taxonomy. So we have defined some verbs in each level of Bloom's taxonomy. Now you have to select one action verb. So from those Bloom's taxonomy verbs. So then after selecting the action verb, in the second step, you have to select the subject content, right? So the subject content, what the students are expected to perform. So then in step 3, you have to decide. So if your CO requires either a level of achievement or condition of performance. So then what is this level of achievement and condition of performance? So this level of achievement will define the how proficient the students need to be in a particular task. Okay, and condition of performance is that, so it identifies if the students are only performing certain task. This outcome is a outcome in a specific context. Okay, so then here we have given some examples for COs. The first one is list the methods to improve the string efficiency in overhead system to get the quality operation of insulators. Here if you observe, list is a action verb which I have chosen from Bloom's taxonomy, and the subject content is the methods to improve the string efficiency in overhead transmission system. And you have so this level of achievement. So the level of achievement here is the to get the quality operation of the insulators. So like that you have to define a CO. And if you observe the second CO, so demonstrate oxy fuel gas cutting techniques with limited supervision. Okay, here demonstrate, it is the action verb which was taken from Bloom's taxonomy, and the subject content is oxy-fuel gas cutting techniques. And here we have the condition of performance with limited supervision. Okay. Then third CO, if you observe, design a website using HTML and JavaScript. Okay. So design, this is the action verb which is taken from Bloom's taxonomy, and the content is a website. So here we are going to design a website. So by using what? Using HTML and JavaScript. Okay. So like that, we have to define the course outcomes, and these course outcomes must be specific, achievable, measurable, and in time bound. Right. After defining the COs, every CO has to be mapped with PO or PSO. Okay. How to do the mapping of CO to PO or PSO? Let us see. So first you have to identify the key elements from CO. Okay, first identify the key elements from CO as well as from PO also. So with the help of the department course expert committee. Okay, so every department will be having the course expert committees, right? By sitting with the course expert committee, we have to identify the key elements in CO as well as PO. So then after identifying the key elements from CO and PO, we have to find the similarity level. Okay, so between CO and PO, so based on the probability. Okay, so and this similarity level will be defined with 4 levels, right? So those 4 levels are dash, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so if CO and PO, those two are not similar, you can put a dash, and depending upon the how relevant this CO with the PO, so you can define the level either 1, 2, or 3. So by using this probability rules, right? So if you find the probability of CO to PO mapping, and if that probability is less than or equal to 0.25, so then in such a case, the similarity level you can take it as 0 or dash. So which means that there is no correlation between that particular CO and PO. Suppose the probability is in between 0.25 and 0.5, so then the correlation is weak, and the similarity level you can put it as a 1. And if your CO and PO probability, so if it is in between 0.5 and 0.75, so then the correlation will be having a moderate correlation, and the level of similarity will be 2. And if the CO and PO probability, if it is greater than 0.75, so then that CO will be strongly aligned with that particular PO, and you can put the level 3 for that those type of COs. Right. Let us see one example how you can map the CO with the PO or PSO. Right. So I am taking CO1. So which is explain the methods to improve the string efficiency in overhead systems to get the quality operation of insulators. Okay. And I'm observing whether this CO is mapped with this particular PO1 or not. So PO1 is engineering knowledge. So here in engineering knowledge, you have to apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, and engineering fundamental and an engineering specialization to solution of complex engineering problems. So this is the PO and this is the CO. Now you have to map this CO1 with the PO1. Okay, and what is the correlation between these two, and what is the similarity level you have to check, right? So first thing you have to do is that you have to write the key elements in a CO as well as key elements in a PO. Okay, so I'm taking here the key elements in CO as methods, string efficiency, and quality of operation. Okay, and key elements in PO as mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, complex engineering problems. Okay, the CO1 is having 3 key elements, and PO1 is having 4 key elements. Now you have to check whether these key elements in CO are mapped with key elements in PO or not. Okay, so you draw this. Okay, so we are taking the key elements in CO as K1, K2, K3. Now whether this K1 is mapped with any one of these PO key elements or not. Okay, so I'm taking that this key methods is mapped with engineering fundamentals. Okay, by using this engineering fundamentals, you can explain the methods for improving the string efficiency. So I'm mapping these methods with the engineering fundamentals and the string efficiency. So this string efficiency you have to calculate for complex engineering problems and for by using mathematics. So here I'm mapping with complex mathematics as well as complex engineering problems. And quality operation you will get from engineering fundamentals and by doing some mathematics. So I'm mapping this CO key elements with the PO key elements, right? So now you are going to find out the probability of this mapping. All right. So now in suppose if K1 is mapped with any one of these, we can take it as a it will be completely matched. Okay, so methods are mapped to at least one, so I'm taking the probability as 1 of 3. Okay, here you have the 3 k elements, so I'm taking 1 by 3. So similarly string efficiency also mapping with any one of PO key element, so I'm also taking this as 1 by 3. And quality operation also it is mapped with any one of the PO key element, so the probability is 1 by 3. Total if you calculate you are getting 1. Okay, so which means that 1 is the maximum probability, right? So the correlation level for CO to PO will be level 3, so which is strong. So according to this, okay, according to this, so PO probability generally will be varies from 0 to 1 only, right? So you are getting 1, which is the maximum. So which is greater than 0.75. So the CO is very strongly mapped with the PO1. So like that you have to map the CO with a particular PO or PSO, right? So then like this you have to do for all the COs. Okay, and you also prepare CO PO mapping with a number of key competencies. Let us see here CO1. So here these are the POs. So PO1, PO2, PO3 up to PO12 you have, and then PSO1, PSO2 and PSO3. Now all these POs will be having some key elements, right? Key competencies you have. So PO1 will be having 3 competencies, PO2 is having 10 competencies, PO3 is having 10 key competencies, PO4 is having 11 competencies, like that. So these are the competencies in particular PO. And for PSO also we have competencies. For PSO1 it is 1, for PS2 it is 2, PS3, PSO3 it is 2, right? So now you have to map this CO with these POs based on these competency levels. Okay, so out of if you see here CO1 is mapped with PO1 with 2 competencies, and CO9 it is mapped with PO1 with all 3 competencies. So like that. Okay, so depending upon how many with how many key competencies this particular CO is mapped, we are representing that particular number in this matrix. Okay, so then after this we are converting that key competencies into percentages. Okay, again we are doing one table, so with the CO PO mapping with some percentage of key competencies. So after this you have to prepare a coarse articulation matrix which defines the CO-PO mapping or CO-PSO mapping here. Okay, so CO1, and before preparing this coarse articulation matrix you have to prepare the levels, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3 levels, right? So if the percentage of this key competencies versus CO is in between 0 to 5, so then we can say that there is no relation between that particular CO and PO. And if the percentage of key competencies are in between 40 to 60%, you can say that the particular CO is moderately mapped with the PO. Right? So then if the percentage is in between 40 to 60, sorry, 5 to 40, it is low or slightly mapped. And if it is between 60 to 100, it will be highly mapped with level 3. Okay, so now So based on these percentages what we have defined in this table, and according to these levels, you can prepare a course articulation matrix. Right now, CO1 is mapped with 1 with the high relation. Okay, like that for all COs, and for all COs, whether they are mapped with POs or PSOs, you have to prepare a course articulation matrix, and finally you have to find out the average. Okay, average of all course outcomes. Right, if you take the PO1, right, so PO1 average of all course outcomes you have to take. So here I'm getting it to be almost 3.0, and similarly for PO2 I'm getting 1.8. For PO3 I'm getting 2.0. So right, so after defining this course articulation matrix, which is between COs and POs, so we have to find out the average. Okay, so then after this, so this represents the course attainment. Okay, so this average of these COs with particular PO, so these numbers will represent for a particular course. So these are the outcomes for a particular course. Now that particular course, how effectively it is mapped with PO or PSO will be defined by this average only. Okay, so in the next slide we are going to list out all the courses. Okay, so C101, course 1 if you take. Okay, so course 1, for course 2, course 3, course 4, like that you have to prepare a CO, PO or PSO mapping. So here it was mistake. Actually here course number you have to define here. Okay, for your first course, how this will be. So this will be these values you have to take, average values. Okay, like that you have to prepare for all the courses. Okay, and now if you observe the correlation level for a particular course. Okay, so I'm taking C101 course to a particular PO1. So I'm getting here to be 2.75. Okay, right. So then after mapping CO and CO with the PO and PSO, so then you have to do the attainment process. Okay, whether that CO is perfectly attained or not. Okay, you have to check. Right. So the attainment here will be again you can done in two ways. So one is direct attainment, the other one is the indirect attainment. Right. So in direct attainment, we will consider the following criteria. Okay. So here you have the two continuous internal exams. So both for theory and practical. So which will be conducted based upon the COs. Okay. So we'll write the COs for a particular course, and for every course we will conduct the two continuous internal examinations. Okay. So then you also conduct the alternate assessment tools. Right. So alternate assessment tools we will be having tech talk, we will be having concept video presentation, we also having the open-ended experiments, and we also having the 5 minutes video presentation, like that. We have defined some. We also having the which also. Right. So from AAT the faculty has to give anyone either which AAT concept video presentation or tech talk presentation, like that, and you have to do the analysis. So then for every course, SWE also will be conducted at the end of the course. So then day-to-day evaluation for a laboratory performance. Okay, these are the direct assessment tools. Okay, which are used for attaining a particular CO or PO. Now, the target level for the attainments of every CO will be set based on the average marks which are obtained in the previous academic year. Okay, so you have to observe the previous academic year record, and you have to set a target level for present academic year. Okay, so now the target level for this CO will be set based on the average marks in that course for in previous academic year. Right. So a threshold of 50% of marks is considered to be in direct assessment. Okay, so 50% marks in terms of CGPA, 6 out of 10 points grade. Okay, so now here I have given the table here. So level 0, which is not satisfactory, if the student if less than 50% of students attain the more than 50% marks. Okay, so in a in a class we will be having a certain 100 number of students, let us assume. So then out of 100, if 50% students are attaining more than 50% of marks, then this is a not satisfactory level. Okay, 0 you can take it as a level. Okay, so then if 50% or more students attain more than 50% marks, then you can take it as a low level. If 60% or more students attain the 50% of mark, then the level will be moderate. And if the 70% students are attaining more than 50% of mark, then the level will be high. Okay, so like that we have to define the target level for each CO depending upon the average marks obtained in the previous academic year. Okay. So then in indirect attainment, we will be given some questionnaire to the student at the end of the each course in course evaluation forms, or simply you can call it as course feedback forms, and these will be given to the students, and also you can take the exit interviews also, right? So by taking these into consideration, you can define the CO's attainments as given in this table. So here also there will be no attainment if less than 60% of students are participating in giving 3.5 or more points in the course feedback. Okay, and it will be the low level. So if 60% to 65% students are participating and giving 3.5 or more points for a particular course, and the level will be moderate or 2. So if the 60 students 65% to 70% of students are participating and also giving 3.5 or more points, so the level will be very high or third level. If the students which are 70% of students are participating and giving 3.5 or more points, here we are taking this 3.5 as a threshold value, and we are going to calculate the indirect attainment also based on the questionnaire given to the student at the end of the each course. So then mechanism for attainment of CO, how you can calculate. So for direct attainment, we will use this formula. Okay, number of students reached the threshold in answering the question by number of students attempted that particular question. So this will give you the CO attainments, which is a direct CO, direct attainment. So then in indirect CO attainment, we will take the sum the students response reached expected level in answering the survey by number of students responded. Okay, so this is the formula for calculating the indirect CO attainment. After finding these two, so then you can calculate the attainment of each CO. Okay, so for a particular CO, the attainment level will be 80% will be taken from direct, 20% will be taken from indirect assessment of your CO. Okay, so this is the attainment level of particular CO. 80% will be given for direct and 20% will be given for indirect. So like this, you can define the course attainment for all the courses. Okay, so suppose if you take the C101 course, okay, so attainment level for CO1 if you are getting 3, CO2 if you are getting 2.9, CO3 if you are getting 3, CO4 you are getting 2.9, like that, right? C101 it is your course. So this course is having, let us assume, 4 outcomes, and for the attainment levels of these course outcomes, if you calculate, you are getting these values: 3, 2.9, 3, 2.9. So then to get the course attainment, you have to take the average of all these values. Okay, so if you take the average of all these CO attainment, then you will get the course attainment. Okay, so this course attainment will be direct and indirect. Okay, so direct you are getting 2.95, indirect you are getting 2.80. These are just assumed values only, right? So then finally the course attainment will be 0.8 times the average direct attainment plus 0.2 times the average indirect attainment, right? So by using this formula, you can calculate the course attainment. Okay, so you got the CO attainment and also course attainment. Okay, so then finally you have to map CO to PO, PSO for all the subjects. Okay, so C101 if you see, how well it is mapped with PO or PSO. So here we are represented 2.75, 2.25 like that, right? So how you got this? By taking the average of all the course outcomes attainment levels. Okay, so if this is C101, it will be having course outcomes CO1, CO2, CO3 like that. Now initially we will calculate the attainment level for these all three courses. Okay, attainment level 3, 2.9, 2.8 like that you will get. So now we are going to take the average of this. Now this average will be taken here for a particular PO, right? So like that, every course CG101, C102, C102 like that. So course numbers will be there here, our course codes will be there. Now all the courses will be mapped with PO or PSOs, right? Then after calculating the CO PO attainment, then finally this is PO attainment, right? How you can calculate the PO attainments here. Okay, so PO will be attained through again direct or indirect methods. So in direct attainment method, we will consider the all courses which are mapped to that particular PO. So we have POs from PO1 to PO2 to 12, and PSOs from PSO1 to PSO3, right? Now for every PO or PSO, how many courses are mapped? We have to check. Okay, we have to consider all the courses which are mapped to a particular PO or a particular PSO, right? So then you can calculate the direct attainment value. So by using this formula, okay, direct attainment for a particular PO will be equal to sum of average attainment levels of course outcomes mapped to that particular PO or PSO by total number of courses. Okay, how many courses are there, right? How many in those courses, how many courses are mapped to a particular PO, and then you have to find the sum of average attainment levels of all the course outcomes, okay, and map to that particular PO, so that you will get the direct PO attainment. And then indirect in attainment. In this indirect attainment, we will consider the feedbacks from students, parents, alumni, and other industry persons, depending upon some questionnaire given to them, and we will calculate the attainment. Okay. Finally, the PO attainment will be 80% will be given for direct, and 20% will be given for indirect. Okay. So from this formula, you will get the PO attainment. Okay. So after doing this CO attainment and PO attainment, now you have to check. Okay. So now for PO1, let us assume that we fixed a target level of 2.8. Okay, this target level will be generally defined based upon the previous year. Okay, so based upon the previous year achievement, we have set the target for PO1 to be 2.8. Okay, now in the present year, we will calculate the attainment level for a particular PO. Then, if you are getting 2.75 as your attainment level, so that means we are not reaching the target level. We are missed the target level. Okay, so then what action plan you have to take? Okay, that need to be mentioned here. Okay, so the target for the next academic year is the same. Why? Because we are not meeting the target level, so we are fixing the same target level for next academic year also. And the PSC is nothing but Program Assessment Committee. Okay, the PSC suggests the mentors to identify the difficulty topics of courses, particular courses C101 and C107, which have the low attainment value, and advise you to focus on them to improve the PO attainment for the next academic year. So like this, we have to note down the observations. Okay, every PO will be having some target level, right? So this target level will be fixed based upon the previous year data. Now we will calculate the attainment for present year data. If it is missed, then what action plan we have to include? You have to define here. Okay. If the target level is reached, suppose, so here you are getting 2.81. So then your target is achieved. In such a case, for the next academic year, you have to change this target level, right? In the next academic year, you can put the target level as a 2.81. Okay, like that you have to prepare some action plan to improve the PO attainment levels. Okay, so this is about the PLC. This is about the OBE. Okay, in OBE, so from this all you can conclude that so OBE is a continuous process of planning, doing, assessing or evaluating, and improving the education system. Okay, in OBE generally you have the 4 components. First one is planning, doing, then assessing or evaluating, then improving. Okay, so these are the 4 components of a OBE. So in planning, what you need to do? In planning, we have to define the outcomes. How we can define the outcomes? We can take the inputs from all the stakeholders, students, teachers, parents, alumni, industry experts, like that. From all stakeholders, we will take the inputs and we have to plan the outcomes based upon the stakeholders' input. Okay. Once defining these outcomes, you have to prepare an action plan, or you have to do something to achieve those outcomes. Right? How you can achieve those those outcomes? You have to design a curriculum and assessment tools which are used for achieving those outcomes. Right? So in the first step, we will define the outcomes. Then to achieve those outcomes, what we need to do? Okay, so we can design the curriculum, and you can use the proper assessment tools for a particular course, and so that you can achieve those outcomes. Okay, second one is doing. So then after doing, you have to assess yourself or evaluate yourself in the sense here the institute or program level. Okay, we have to assess. How you can assess? By using COPO attainment. Okay, so you have to evaluate the students' performance both by direct and indirect methods. Okay, direct method and indirect methods will, in the sense, these exams, internal exams, external exams, laboratory exams. Okay, if there are any alternate assessment tools you are using, so those are all coming under direct attainments. On indirect methods, you have to take a survey or a questionnaire from the students. So then you have to do the attainment for CO as well as PO. So then after evaluating, you have to check whether we have improved or not. Okay, so then if you are not improved, then you have to take a certain action plan, and in the next academic year we can achieve that defined level of the target. Okay, so this is a continuous process. Okay, OBE is always a continuous process of planning, doing, assessing or evaluating, and improving the education system. Okay, thank you very much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.